Hi all, Fuzzy Barbarian back again with a guide on how to defeat the Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption boss Wrathful Angronn. Okay, if you're watching this video, it's likely you're already tearing your hair out over this one. Unfortunately, you're not going to feel any better about it when I tell you there's really no good news on secret strategies to beat this boss or anything like that. Beating him comes down to having patience, getting some luck with which random attacks he decides to spam you with, and really not a lot of anything else. Basically, the object is to hit the boss in his hands when he does a strike attack that leaves his hands open for a counter. This is easier said than done though, because whether or not he does a hand strike attack is more or less random. If he doesn't leave his hand open for an attack, there's nothing you can do except run and dodge to try to avoid whatever spam he's hurling at you until he finally stops hurling all that spam and does do an actual hand attack. I could explain what type of tally he has for each different spam attack he throws, but it's not really that helpful to know. Basically all you need to know is if he isn't swiping a hand at you, then you have to run and dodge constantly and retreat when he's going to smash away the ground, and that's about it. I mean, maybe the exception to that is to look for when he shakes and raises his arms outward and kind of looks up. That's the tell for when he's going to rain spears down on you, which I guess is handy to know because you can start running and dodging, but you probably should already be doing that anyway, given pretty much everything in this boss fight is running and dodging. So yeah, I don't really know if that's helpful or not, but there it is. As far as his hand attacks go, well, it's very easy to spot when you can attack it, when you can counter attack it, because his hand will just be left sitting there immediately after you're forced to dodge his attack on you. But I'm pretty sure nobody needs me to explain that, it's very obvious. Perhaps a reasonable tip I can offer though is to use the double-handed sword. He doesn't leave his hands out very often, so it makes sense to use the two-handed sword to try and do as much damage as you can when he finally does give you the chance. I also recommend staying as close to the boss as you can to try to bait him into a hand attack, as he does seem to do more hand attacks if you're close, but not always. That's not a given. Like I said, it's random what he does. Oh, and his hands are armoured too, so he won't take much damage for the first part of the fight, but the armour does break off eventually, leaving him to take more damage later in the fight, so it kind of speeds up as it goes. If you're lucky with the random attacks he chooses, of course. If he doesn't use his hands on you and just keeps throwing spam, then it can take longer. You might also want to try not locking on for 90% of the fight, as well as using the free camera option. It's really easy to fall off if you can't see where you're going when he forces you to retreat, and the free camera option enables you to be able to turn your back on the boss and look around to see where it's safe to run when he starts breaking the ground away. But if you do that, it means when he does put his hand out for you to attack, you might end up swinging aimlessly into nowhere. So the trick is to kind of lock onto his hand when he leaves his hand out, hit it, and then when he pulls his hand back, take your lock off so that you can run around freely again. So yeah, basically run, dodge absolutely everything, stay close to the boss as you can to try to get him to attack with his hands, and then when his hand is left out, lock on and hit it with a mix of light and heavy attacks as much as you can before he retrieves it, and then turn your lock off and start running and dodging around the place again. And keep retreating all the way back for the whole fight until you end up pushed back as far as he can push you back, and at that point you'll be able to finish him off by doing the same stuff that we've already talked about. Okay, well, I'll let you watch the rest of the fight from here on, because there's nothing much else to say about this fight. It's very simplistic, and you already know everything there is to know. Till the next vid, bye for now.